All right, Shalom, Mesharala Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Baha Shem Yahweh Shah, Baha Shem Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, Shalom, Yasharala Shalom. All right, so, I mentioned this a day or so ago. But anyways, just going back into this topic here, all right, that men want to try and slander brothers about, though they're teaching the truth, beginning with our apostles of Great Millstone and on down, all right, teaching the truth and who I've learned the truth from, okay, and I know in my spirit this is the 100% truth. But when you go into the scriptures, it goes to show you it doesn't matter how many platforms men go on, how much slander they use, lies or whatever. Doesn't matter what they say. You cannot combat the scriptures and what they actually say and what's in them. And so this will be a brief lesson, another according to the Bible, just going back into the so-called grape thing. All right. So, and we're going to be right here. Like I said, it's going to be super brief. So we're in the Deuteronomy chapter 21. It says marriage to a captive woman. All right. Going to also show you from another standpoint that those men out there that say that you cannot have heathen women, or if you got a white woman, you're sleeping with the enemy. What are you talking about? That's not what the scriptures say, because it's clearly about to tell us what the Lord really thinks of the situation. Marriage to a captive woman. And it's going to explain who these captive women are. All right. So Deuteronomy 21:10. We're in the NLT. It says, suppose you go out to war against your enemies. All right. Who are your enemies? Clearly not Israelites. Now, there's a thing where Israelites are called enemies, but you don't hate your brother or your sister or whoever. It just means you don't like your next door neighbor too much. All right. But that's still your brother according to the flesh. All right. And like, if their goat went off, galloping around somewhere and, like it was lost, you supposed to, even though you're not on good terms with that neighbor of yours who's an Israelite, you're supposed to take that goat back to that person's house. All right. That's the instructions of Israel dealing one amongst another. These enemies are talking about heathen nations. All right. So keep that in mind. So it says against your enemies, and Yahweh your power hands them over to you, and you take some of them as what? As captives. All right. Let's jump over here. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Verse 10, it says, as you approach a town to attack it, you must first offer its people terms for peace. If they accept your terms and open the gates to you, then all the people inside will serve you in forced labor. So there's rules on engaging in war. All right. The main rule is you inquire of the Lord first through a priest or whatnot. That's the main thing. Don't go to no war if you didn't inquire of the Lord first. All right. Now, here's also a rule of dealing with, the sacking of a nation, all right, or a city or whatever. Okay, if they accept your terms and open the gates to you, then all the people inside will serve you in forced labor. But if they refuse to make peace and prepare to fight, you must attack the town, right? And so when you go back like to things like well, actually we don't have to pull out those examples. Let's just keep going because but anyways, so it says, when the Lord Yahweh, your power, hands the town over to you, use your swords to kill every man in the town. But you may keep for yourselves all the women. Wait a minute. But this is a heathen nation. What are you talking about, Brother Micah? What do you mean keep the women there? But you may keep for yourselves all the women, children, livestock, and other plunder. You may enjoy the plunder from your enemies that Yahweh your power has given you. So it says what? Use your swords to kill every man in the town, which includes the young men, because the young men will be of fighting age as well. You see? And even not, guess what? Those boys may grow up to make some more heathen to come back and revenge or whatever. You get the point. All right? Is this not brutal? Of course it is. But I thought God was all love. Just to throw the churches in there somewhere. You see? So as we always mention, man, the Bible explains itself. It's just that people lack the true understanding because of, the leadership that they are under. All right. You have to have the right teachers. And if the Spirit is dealing with you, it will send you to the right teachers, man. And, we know that as the apostles and the bishops and the elders of Great Millstone, man. And other, brothers who have labored, long term in this thing, man. It says, but you may keep for yourselves all the women, children, livestock, and other plunder. You may enjoy the plunder from your enemies that Yahweh your power has given you. But these instructions apply only to distant towns, not to the towns of the nations in the land you will enter. So in other words, and this is a random example, just saying. So we were living in the land that Moab owned, all right? We can't go and attack no Moabite cities, man. Go somewhere and attack some Hamites or something like that. You can't be around attacking no Moabite cities, man. And you living in the inhabitants of Moab, right? It says, in those towns, it says, but these instructions apply only to distant towns, not to the towns of the nations in the land you will enter. In those towns that Yahweh, your power, is giving you as a special possession, destroy every living thing. All right. So that hits on a lot of levels, man, for different, individuals out there, those that claim to be Israelites, as well as, these churchgoers and things of that nature. What we were just read there hit on many levels. So if we go back here and it says what? Verse 10 says, suppose you go to war against your enemies and Yahweh your power hands them over to you, and you take some of them as captives. Verse 11 says, and suppose you see among them, the captives, a beautiful woman. Yeah. What, you don't think there's beautiful women in the heathen nations? Have you been outside lately? All right. Have you looked around lately? Okay. Including the Edomite women, right? All the heathen nations have beautiful women amongst them. Okay. Not saying everyone is beautiful. I'm just saying amongst all the heathen nations, there are very beautiful women amongst these nations. Now, some of them are actually Israelites. When you see them, you think of a heathen nation. But there are some who are actually heathens, and the women are gorgeous. And suppose, otherwise the scriptures wouldn't say it themselves, right? Or itself, right? And suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you are attracted to her and want to marry her. Meaning what? Make her a concubine. Because a wife, all right, could only be an Israelite woman. A concubine is a lesser wife. And so that's what the heathen women would be. Perfect example, Solomon. He had 1,000 women, 700 wives, 300 concubines. Clearly those 300 women were heathen women because they were concubines. But the 700, those are all Israelite women, all right, which is why they were known as wives. Verse 12 says, if this happens, you may take her to your home where she must shave her head, cut her nails. It didn't say that, that's sleeping with the enemy. You're betraying the brothers in the brotherhood. It's not what the scripture said. It says, go and get her if you want her. It's in the law. But some of these men that say opposite of this are the same ones who heavily push the law. It says, verse 13, let's read it again. Verse 11, and suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you are attracted to her and want to marry her. If this happens, you may take her to your home, where she must shave her head, cut her nails, and change the clothes she was wearing when she was captured. She will stay in your home, but let her mourn for her father and mother for a full month. Then you may marry her, and you will be her husband, and she will be your wife. Meaning what? After that time is up, how do you make a woman your wife? You go in and you do the funky monkey with her. All right, you do the tango. Okay, you go in and you penetrate her. That's how a woman becomes your wife. In our ancient customs, sex was marriage. When you lay with that wife, that was the deal. All right, that was a deal breaker. Once you've done that, you've made her your wife. And so that's no different from these heathen women. They would just be known as concubines. Once that mourning period is up and she's done what she's supposed to do according to the law, because you made her do it, right? Because she's captive under you, all right? Doesn't matter if she's gotten over, all right, her family or not. She's gotten over it, it's even better. If she haven't, doesn't matter. You go in and you penetrate her, and that's what solidifies the deal according to the law, man. Then you may marry her, and you will be her husband, and she will be your wife. All right. And I want to get something else here. Actually, we just read it, but we'll go back over there real quick. Deuteronomy 20, right? 17. It says, you must completely destroy the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, just as Yahweh your power has commanded you. This will prevent the people of the land from teaching you to imitate their detestable customs in the worship of their gods, which would cause you to sin deeply against Yahweh your power. So the point I'm making of reading that is you would take those heathen women, all right, you destroy her mindset, and now she has to follow under you, which you follow, you behind the laws of Yahweh Bashem Shah. So she would have to also worship the Lord. No more worshiping whatever it was, the great green frog or whatever, right? That's done away with. Okay. And as we read up above earlier, okay, you're destroying the men. So there's no men there, all right? Because the women are not to go and take no heathen men. Okay, we're putting it. The women are not even there, anyways. All right, you're home. Okay, the men are out at war. So the men of those heathen nations are put to death. There's women, children, cattle, and other goods that you can take. Those came back home with the men. So for men, which here's a cut to you women. All right, to think a man belongs to you. One man is, he cheating on me. All right, you lied to my no. If that man came home with, I don't know, he saw a woman and a child, right? Woman and her child, or we could just say he brought I don't know, he brought two women back home. He had a wife of an Israelite woman. He from where he came from, he only had one wife at the moment, an Israelite woman. He came back from war with two heathen women in that household. What was the woman going to say? Nothing. You know why? Because our women understood back then. Our women are delusional these days. They don't understand the way the Lord has set things up. They don't understand order, and they don't understand the scriptures. And there's men in Israel who are showing the same thing, that they have a lack of understanding of what the scriptures say. And in the scriptures it says there's no private interpretation of the scriptures. All right. So if that man came back from war with a heathen woman and he had an Israelite wife, well, he's got two wives now. And guess what? Only one of them was an Israelite woman. So one is a wife, one is a concubine, but they're both his, so to speak, wives. They both belong to him. And that Israelite woman ain't going to rise up and, wait a minute now, what is you doing with this Edomite? None of that, man. You just brought a Ammonite into the camp or whatever. Nah, man, there's none of that going on. They understood back then. All right. So it says, this will prevent the people of the land from teaching you to imitate their detestable customs and the worship of their gods, which will cause you to sin deeply against the Lord Yahweh, your power. All right. I don't think we need to read that. Yeah. So let's go back and finish off, because it was just another verse there. So it says, change the clothes she was wearing. All right. If this happens, you may take her to your home, where she must shave her head, cut her nails. Excuse me. All right. And it goes to show you, all right, the difference between an Israelite woman and a heathen woman. An Israelite woman shaving her head off brings shame, right? Because it tells you that in what, 1 Corinthians 11. I'm sure you could use that, right? Or is that invalid? Yeah. So, that's shame, all right? Because a woman's supposed to have long hair, all right? She's not supposed to cut her hair. But this is a process particular for heathen women, all right? That you would command her to do because you took her as a war captive, right? Shave her head, cut her nails, change the clothes she was wearing. When she was captured, she will stay in your home, but let her mourn for her father and mother for a full month. Then you may marry her, and you will be her husband, and she will be your wife. But if you marry her and she does not please you, you must let her go free. You may not sell her or treat her as a slave, for you have humiliated her. All right, now, I want to go real quick before we close it off and go into the KJV, all right, for that particular verse there. Did I pass it? Yeah, 14 says, as a matter of fact, hold on. So verse 14 says, and this shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. What does humble mean? And this is one aspect of, because we're going to do another lesson, dealing with just women in general. All right. More so speaking of Israelite women. But this is just one side of it, dealing with the heathen women, because there's another, portion, a similar thing in the law, dealing with women with the so-called great thing. All right. Because this is in line with that. It's not exactly on the same subject as the other topic we're talking about here, but this is still in line with it, which is why we're reading it. So, the Spirit allows, eventually we get around to doing that lesson again, because it's been a while since I gone into that. All right, but let me get this here. So it says humble, right? The word there is aina. Or ana. So it says to be occupied is with, blah, blah, blah. So to afflict, oppress, humble. All right. So now, if you go up here, it says what? All right. So chasten self, deal hardly with, defile, exercise. Look, force. It has the word force. Okay. You took her, as I mentioned before. Once she's in your household, she's yours. She belongs to you anyways. But you have to go through a process before you can actually go in unto her. If she's gotten over it, beautiful. It'll work even better because she may probably be willing, to feel the embrace of a man all over again, understanding that, hey, this is my new life now. But I'm pretty sure I'll be well taken care of with this Israelite man. But if she's not over it after the 30 days of mourning, it doesn't matter anyways. You go in unto her anyways. She belongs to you, right? And it ain't like she's going to run off, all right? Because, let's say, just for example, it was a Moabite woman, right? Well, everybody going to see her like, well, who the hell is this woman? Because she's going to look different from everybody else here. All these, however many Israelites, million plus Israelites are here. And you got this one person running through all the, all the different areas trying to find a way out. She's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And you're going to know this is one of those heathen women. All right. So it ain't no escaping. Okay. It says gentleness, humble, self, hurt. Look, the word ravish. All right. As a matter of fact, let's pull that up. I don't think translates what we want. Okay, so that worked too. So, yep, the word ravish can be translated from Hindi to English in multiple ways, including to force someone to have sex against their will and to give great pleasure to someone. What? Hold up. And to what? Give great pleasure to someone. But you mean this is in the Bible? Wait a minute, brother Michael. Is this in the Bible? Yeah, it's in the Bible. Okay? And it's not as harsh as you may think. The reason why people can't wrap their head around the situation is because of this Western worldly way of thinking and perceiving things, especially the way that words are used today. All right. Having the biblical understanding of things really puts you in the mindset of, oh, okay, I get it. I understand. That's actually a simple matter. But because of men who claim to be in the truth, you could tell they still have a piece of a worldly insight on the scriptures, because otherwise this wouldn't affect them. This wouldn't bother them. They would read something like this. And this is heathen women. So that cuts in two ways, because not only is it talking about the so-called, taking of a woman against her will, all right, but it also mentions heathen women. And that hurts these men, okay? For whatever reason, I don't know why, but it does. And then also mentions the same thing in another, portion dealing with Israelite women, all right? If she was married or not married, she cried out or not cried out, and so on and so forth. And there were things set up to govern that. So it wasn't just men was just going around doing it willy-nilly. No, it made you think. Like, man, she bad, man, but because you had to take that woman forever, man. Once you did it, you got to pay the dowry, so on and so forth, and then bam, there was no coming back from that. So it would make you think twice. You wouldn't just go and do it. Like, they make it seem like, oh, this man is just running around doing this all the time. Like, oh, what is this? This is so terrible. Oh, man, you're putting your emotions to it instead of actually using your intellectual side of things and thinking about the situation. See, that's why those things were set up. All right. Like, make you think twice. You better be prepared. If you're going to take that woman, you better be prepared to take care of her. All right. If you wanted her that bad. So it says, so humble, hurt. Yeah, it says humble her, right? Ravish. Okay. And what does it mention, man? To please her. Okay. Meaning what? Fulfill that sexual desire that you have for her. Because she's been taken as your captive as a heathen woman. A heathen woman, that is. All right. So that's pretty much it on that. Yeah, we can leave it right there. Straightforward, to the point. All right. According to the Bible. Okay. So Lord willing, you will edify. Till next time, Yahshua, I'm going to say shalom.